about the question of the knights, Serge Losapio. Why do we have issues with him? Now, there are 5 reasons on which we have issues with Serge. And there is unanimity on this question, except with the Dominicans. But the bishops are on the same wavelength. That's why the Jean-Pierre side has Bishop Balini, or even Bishop Stobnicki as a bishop protector. And recently, Jean-Pierre Leroy had a good dinner with Bishop Ford, who understands also the situation. So except for the Dominicans, but the Dominicans don't have their bearings perfect with the SSPX either. But except with them, there is unanimity about what happened in the Knights of Our Lady. Now, the first reason I cannot collaborate with Serge Losapio, it's because of the constitutional problem. He wants an order of knight, which is the personal guard of Serge Losapio. He wants absolute power within the Knights of Our Lady, and I cannot accept that. It's not possible. Because you could have it in normal times, because in normal times there would be a pope, you would have the Roman Curia, so you would be vetted and inspected from above. Your power would not be absolute, because you would be liable to inspection and possibly punishment from a higher authority. Whereas above his head, he has got only Almighty God. Whereas the text of the Constitution stipulates that the Council is not merely consultative. It's also deliberative. The Council has also deliberative powers. That is, the power of the master can be limited in case he makes a big mistake by his own council. And that's the point of the debate. Now, if I have an order of knights where the general can do whatever he likes and is above all laws, I don't want knights in Asia. I don't want them. I pull out. I am not the general chaplain anymore. I tell Father Gilmar to stop supporting the knights and all the other priests. And the bishop likewise. I don't want to see those flags and those Knights of Our Lady around. Because this is exactly what happened to us within the SSPX. I was a priest of the SSPX. Bishop Philippe got too much power. And because he had all power, he changes the policy of the SSPX. He changes the engagement they took, never to have a deal with Rome unless Rome converts, comes back to tradition. That was a deal. That was the basic agreement that Archbishop Lefebvre told them. You wait for the conversion of Rome, and in 2006 there was a general chapter, no practical deal with Rome unless Rome converts. And because Bishop Philippe had all powers, he was not only a bishop, but he was superior general, he had all powers, he was able to turn around the SSPX and sink it with his Titanic date, April 15th. And he forced it upon us, and he threw us out of the order. I was thrown out of the SSPX because I said, this is wrong. This is not the deal. We have to wait until Leo or Francis is until they convert. It's not possible. Otherwise, they're going to kill us. They are heretics. And so we don't want, if you make a mistake, I was wrong. I pray that Bishop Philippe will be elected. That was a mistake. For me once, shame on you. For me twice, shame on me. Why should I repeat the same mistake with the Knights of Our Lady? So I don't want, and my confreres don't want, we don't want a general master with unlimited power. Not possible. His power must have checks and balances. That's why that was a system in ancient times. In ancient times, King Philip II of Spain had to go to the Parliament of Spain, the Cortes, and he had to beg the assembly there. He had to beg them to please give me some money, so I can have a crusade, I can do this or that. Because his power was limited, even though he was a very powerful king, Philip II. So in any system, you have checks and balances. It's natural. It's not the Americans who invented it with their constitution. I mean, bless them if they have. But it's normal. We are not perfect, and we can be wrong. And so we need to be checked. And that's the number one reason I disagree with Serge. That's the number one reason. I got no personal hard feelings with him. No. So that's the number one. Second big reason is the rule of law. We want a rule of law. So he threw out Jean-Pierre Leroy within a month. Then we all ask, what's the matter? I mean, what has he done? And the only reply, he is a traitor, he is a perjurer, he is a felon, felony, perjury. So off with his head, Queen of Hearts, Alice in the Wonderland. So we say, what has he done? We need to know. And how do we know in a human society? Well, especially for an important member, other members could be expelled, yes, but even there you have to be just. You've got to give a reason. It must be motivated. But for him, we were asking for a trial. Let Jean-Pierre Leroy stand in trial. He has the right to defend himself before he's thrown out and punished and humiliated in such a way, with such words. He has a right to defend himself, which we call it the rule of law. It's natural. This is what happened in civil societies. Even your kangaroo courts, your rotten judges, they have to give you a rotten justice here in this country. It's all paid for. I mean, it's all rotten, but at least they got to save the appearance. And so I was asking, let him defend himself before you, and whoever judges you appoint, and let him have a... and then Father Jean of Morgon said there must be no punishment. You must suspend the punishment, and there must be a mediation. And that's the job of Serge Losapio in civil life. In a civil life, he is himself a mediator between the contending parties. He should have understood that. We can't have an organization of men without rule of law. It's not possible. It's not going to fly. The dog don't hunt. There must be rules and regulations and basic justice, especially given the services of Jean-Pierre Leroy throughout his life. I mean, he's not perfect. Even himself admits, and he pleads guilty on the fact that Serge Losapio was not properly vetted. He is a recent convert, and he was not properly vetted before he was put into power. And so we don't know, he married late, he was baptized late, and we don't know if he has Catholic life in his family. We didn't check his personal details, as should be done before we entrust the direction of the order to him. And on this, Jean-Pierre Leroy says, I am guilty. I goofed up. I was wrong. I went too precipitously. I was wrong to condemn those who went against my judgment. My judgment was wrong. I was too precipitous. And so, because he was not properly vetted, then we are facing the behavior that we face right now. And that's one thing about Serge. The second thing is that he wants to make the Knights something different. He's steering the Knights towards becoming a hard right movement. A hard right movement. This is not our object. Our goal is not to fight against the police or to fight against the riot police. And our goal is not to do street fightings, to do the things of the hard right. Our goal is to bring our laymen into the leadership that they should have. And to be a leader, it means that you fulfill your assignments of studies. That's the number one duty of a man. If you are a man, you are the head of the family, you have civil responsibilities, and to exercise those responsibilities, you must know what is the social doctrine of Christ, what is the position of the Church on social issues, what are the famous texts of the popes, and so on and so forth. How do you establish the kingship of Christ? And we don't see that all that much. It worries us. It worries me. I'm not interested to give my help to a hard right movement. I'm not fighting within the system. I'm not jumping in the lake of the crocodiles to fight with the crocodiles. This is not my fight. My fight is to train our laymen as to the social teaching of Christ. And that they will have to act on this. Yes, it's up to them. It's their duty of state. But my first responsibility, the first responsibility of the order, is to ensure that the members fulfill their duty of state as Catholic men, as Catholic citizens, as head of families, by following the assignments that are given to them by their hierarchy, and by humbly accepting correction if they don't follow their duties as knights. And it's a good frame. I'm afraid I don't see that. And then fifth reason, it seems that Serge is fighting dirty. He's fighting dirty. So the Prague chapter is a perfect illustration of that. The Prague chapter of the Knights was not on our side. It was not on the side of Jean-Pierre Leroy. But because they fight dirty, then they switch. And then they join the side of Jean-Pierre Leroy. Because there was an intrusion in the privacy of Jean-Pierre Leroy, which is not a way to fight. Thou shalt not lie. They shall be honest. It's the gift of faith, the fruit of faith we just talked about. Likewise, there was an American man, I heard about it recently, then he consulted the difference with Jean-Pierre because he saw there is two masters on the two sides. And then he saw that Serge is spending his time assaulting the side of Jean-Pierre Leroy. Whereas we carry on. It's the first time I give a talk on Serge, if you want to know, first time. So we probably, I told, we should have a little corner on our website about Serge, but nothing more. We are not worried about him. God bless him, we don't question the validity of his election and so on and so forth. But this behavior is not the way we should fight. And then even against the Filipinos, he used insults. He made cartoons comparing you to monkeys. That's not a way to fight. Is that chivalry? In chivalry, we respect our enemies, even those whom we fight. We respect Salahuddin, We respect all the Caliph of Islam and those fantastic soldiers. We give them honor. We fight honorably. They are wrong. They perhaps even mean well. And then we need to give them a clean fight because we are Christians. We follow the example of St. Louis. He told St. Louis, now you are free, you could not pay your ransom. No, St. Louis says, no, I gave my word to the emir, to the Caliph of Cairo. I gave my word, so everything needs to be paid. So we have to fight clean. Now, it's a bad sign on their part. Let them fight us if they wish. Criticize us. We are not perfect. They're certainly going to find something imperfect in us. But they need to fight us clean and keep charity. I wish them the best. I don't understand why, despite all the support that they have in France, they are not growing. They're not recruiting very well. Even though they have the support of the Dominicans and Media Press Info, and they've got plenty of, and Civitas, got plenty of channels by which they can grow. I'm surprised they don't have much results.